Welcome to TMI Socials. We kickstart with the first story where Natasha and the Senate President has been trending for a while now. I am Anuoluwapo Stevens. I better still call me your social media butterfly. So yesterday we saw Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan appear before a federal high court in Abuja for the hearing of a suit challenging her suspension by the Senate over allegations of misconduct based on allegations of bias by one of the parties in the suit. Well, Akpoti-Uduaghan had in a motion joined the National Assembly, the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, and Senator Neda Imasuem, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Code of Conduct, as defendant. Well, meanwhile, Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court Abuja has fixed June 27 to deliver the judgment on the suit filed by the suspended Kogi Central lawmaker, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, challenging her suspension. Now let's take you through a viral video we got from Senator Natasha yesterday.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Please let me put my veil so I'm looking. Where's the room? So I'll just sit here. Good morning.
How are you?
Thank you so much. Good morning. I'm fine, thank you. So good to be here.
Yeah, don't worry. You now made my day.
Yes, I.
Now, how did you react to the story online? Let's have a couple of tweets and reaction. We can start with this user who wrote on X. This woman should be a role model to you ladies, and nobody should intimidate you because you are a woman. Remember, no woman, no country, no nation, no man. Now, another user responding on Instagram. This one says, I believe this woman has a lot of evidence, but just keep it low. It will clear for Akpabio eyes soon. Well, we'll see how things goes. Now, moving over to other reaction. This user says, why is she challenging her suspension in court instead of going to court with evidence to prove her sexual harassment case against Akpabio? I guess it's becoming clear to people that nothing like sexual harassment ever happened. This woman is just out to tarnish people's image with smiling face, and people are falling for that nonsense. Well, we'll see how things go there. Of course, it's a developing story currently on social media as the case is still in court, so we'll keep you up to speed regarding the latest development. Away from that, now, we also saw a trending story of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, Dave Umahi, are set to attend an international press conference in London to promote the achievements of President Bola Tinubu's administration on the global stage. Well, the announcement was made by Bode Adeyemi, the project internal coordinator of the President Bola Tinubu Midterm Legacy Project Review Committee during a press briefing held on Tuesday in Abuja. Now let's move over to tweet and see a couple of reactions on this one. Okay, so that was Solomon who says on Instagram, do these politicians know that they are doing what they are doing at all? Has any international leader come to Nigeria to showcase achievement? Well, another user responded says, these people have ideas. This is awesome. Tell me about it. Well, still on the story. The president went to France to assess his 2 years. Now, his ministers are going to address the world in London. My question is, why are they not bothered by how Nigerians see them? More interested in acceptability by those who are not experiencing the hardship of your policies or inflicting on the people. Well, now speaking about the world and the global scene, let's move over to America, where we saw Donald Trump trending yesterday on X as the world record holder for the oldest person to be sworn in the U.S. president. Can't seem to keep up with the Saudis. Now, Donald Trump was filmed falling asleep during a briefing with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in Saudi Arabia yesterday, where Trump could be seen shutting his eyes and jerking awake. Take a look.
Read a lot of the material now out of Saudi Arabia, and Mohammed bin Salman is saying we need a resolution on a Palestinian state. And I don't necessarily recall several years ago, pre-October 7th, as that being a demand that he had necessarily stated publicly. Do you think his position has changed, or do you think the way he has expressed himself?
That's Donald Trump there. Remember when it was Joe Biden's tenure and Trump was always dragging Joe Biden? In fact, on X it was trending as a sleepy dawn. Nigerians and Americans as well. Moving over to tweets and reaction on the story. We'll kickstart with this user who says, back in the day, Bush Jr. would fall asleep and we would make jokes and laugh. Now, it is impeachable and unconstitutional. Another user responding on X says, I mean, to be fair, the guy is 80 years old and jet lag is real. I would be falling asleep too if I'm so tired. He had more energy than I do. Now finally on the story, this user says, breaking, sleepy Don can barely keep his eyes open while representing the United States and Saudi Arabia. If this were President Biden, there would be non-stop coverage of his cognitive condition and his physical fitness. Where is the media outrage? Anyway, back here in Nigeria, where we saw a group of parents going out to protest, outside of the JAM office on May 13, 2025, to protest what they described as unfairly low scores of their children during the 2025 UTME. Now, the protest captured in a video shows visibly frustrated parents demanding explanations and answers. Let's take a look.
Look at parents. You can see now. Look at parents. Everybody is upset. High performing students are scoring 140 something in JAM, 140 something, 130 something, and the security man is talking anyhow to the parents. Don't push anybody. Don't push any parent. Don't push any parent. Don't push anybody. Don't push anybody. Don't push anybody.
Always an unending drama on social media. Tell me about it. Moving over to tweets and reaction. We start off with this user who says, I know the system can be messy, but high-performing students might be performing well with the wrong curriculum. Just saying, because our beaded bags are elegant. Now, another user responding to the story says, which kind of move protest is this? If they study, they won't fail. Most of the parents are not even monitoring their children. And all this Gen Z group are mostly found on TikTok. Now, finally, on this bit, this user respondent says, your kids are not reading anymore. It is not the fault of JAM, a big. They were able to pass like Neko because they can have their way with it. I can see students boldly saying they use their phones inside the exam hall. Some even pay for people to write for them. Well, we're going to wrap up TMI Socials this way today. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. I am Nuoluwakpo Stevens, and from all of us this morning on ITV, have yourself a blessed day ahead.